I don't know. It's the bravado of it, the bragging of it, what he does in his clips on the internet. That's what makes it a little more skeevy, in my opinion.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, Andrew. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you get out of this, man. I need to ask you because we talk about like more or less the saturation and the end of your career, but we didn't talk too much about the beginning. So you became a pornographer. So what is a pornographer exactly? Are you behind the camera or
Yeah.
for? Okay.
I guess a nicer way to say it is a content producer, which is what I was. Now let's back up a little bit. So I grew up outside of Philadelphia,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania. Had a normal childhood. Loved TV, loved movies. After you graduate high school, you're supposed to go to college, which is what I did. And I went to school in upstate New York at Syracuse University, and I went in undeclared. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but they had a really good production program, a production school, communication school, the Newhouse School. And so I worked my way into the school and I got in. And so I got a degree, my first degree in TV and film production. So this is what I was going to do. Then I went south to Miami, Florida, started working in corporate and commercial production as a production assistant, and then as an editor, and then as a producer. And so, I'm working on, the legit side, the mainstream side of things. But the truth is I wanted to do more. I wanted to make TV shows. I wanted to make movies. And the only place you really could do that is in Hollywood, California. So, fortune or misfortune would have it that I made my way out there and found myself eventually in financial straits, in credit card debt. And then I answered an ad on, it was called adultstaffing.com. And there was this kid, a Mexican kid with a speech impediment. He had like a stutter. He would stutter all the time when he spoke, but he wanted to make a porn movie and he needed a director. So I bullshitted him, told him I could do it. Told him I shot porn before, which I hadn't, but he believed that I did. And so I found myself on that fateful day in April of 2002, almost 20 years ago. No, actually 23 years ago. 23 years ago. And that was my first day of porn. And that started a chain reaction of one person I met, then another person. And then I sort of knew where people were looking for content providers. And so I moved back to Florida and I built up the business. And I was just producing content for people who had adult websites. And then eventually I met the guys who would start Brazzers. And that is when the real story began.
What? You were there when
Yeah.
Brazzers? What? No, we need to know
Well,
how that went. What
okay,
happened?
okay. So the Brazzers guys were a bunch of like frat bros from Montreal at Concordia University. They knew how to market porn on the internet. Now we're going back to the early parts of the 2000s. The internet is booming, but internet porn is still finding its way. But these guys knew how to market porn.
Hmm.
And so I would be in a hotel room in Miami shooting a performer, and they would be hitting me up. Do you remember the instant messenger ICQ? Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would be talking to all these people on ICQ, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm in a hotel room. I've got this girl. She's got big boobs. And they were always about big boobs, right? But they're like, okay, well, can you give us a titty fuck scene for like $200? So I look at the guy and the girl they're a couple. I'm like, hey, dude, you think you got another one in you? Because I'll throw you $100. He's like, yeah. And so we do this quick titty fuck scene, and then they take 100, I take 100, and then that was it. And these were guys that would eventually become Brazzers. And so they really liked the work I was doing for them. They liked the price in which I did it for them. They liked the fact that they gave me money and I didn't fuck them over and take their money, and I delivered them a product. And eventually they were starting to do different things like mommy got boobs and baby got boobs.
Oh
And
my god.
then they wanted to go to scripted. So they go Dr. Adventures. And I was their guy that they would always just throw a high scene order to. And eventually they were like, look, we really like you. We really like the work you're doing, but we want to level up. So if you get out of Florida and you start tapping into the LA performers, we will keep you very busy. So I was out of debt at that point, and I decided, okay, let's roll the dice, but let's not go to LA because I wasn't a fan of LA. So where do I set up shop? Where do you take a big gamble? Las Vegas. And so I bought this house in Las Vegas, a really expensive house I had no business buying, right at the peak of the market. And that was when this really big, huge, inadvertent snowball happened where it exploded. That's all I can really say. It exploded. And it was really busy. And eventually they launched the site called Brazzers.com. And I was with them from the very beginning.
That's amazing. You should
Yeah.
make a movie out of this. I mean, I know you're making a movie. We can talk about it later, but damn, that's incredible.
Yeah.
How long was
Yeah.
that journey? Like, for how
Uh,
many years have you worked
so
together?
so I got into Vegas of March of 2006. And unless we were shut down, if there was a moratorium in the business because someone popped positive for HIV, every single month from March of 2006 until March of 2020, I was busy for those 16 years. So it was really crazy how much it exploded. And once they before the earlier scenes were more gonzo style, where it's like the girl's dressed up, she's oiling up her boobs, she's shaking her boobs, that's gonzo. We were shooting a lot of that. But eventually what they wanted to do was tap into the more scripted stuff. And there was Naughty America. They were doing Naughty Office. And like my friend's hot sister and my first sex teacher and all of these things. Well, Brazzers, what they wanted to do was do it better, but incorporate big boobs. So we have the first site, Big Tits at Work. And once I got done that first 10 seat order of Big Tits at Work, everything exploded where it was like, okay, we have so much money coming in. What do you need, Vic, so we can really just elevate? And it just went from there. It went to Big Tits at School and then more and more and more. And then, I bought this house to shoot porn in, but after a certain point, after 15 months, every scene starts looking the same, even though I had an in-house studio. So we start going to different houses. We start renting houses. And then eventually I got a licensed studio in Las Vegas where we were legally allowed to shoot porn. And that's when we were really leveling up and we were building all of these elaborate sets for classrooms and doctor offices and anything that these guys in Montreal would conjure, I was able to build and deliver. And the place was so huge. It was like 16,000 square feet. So I was directing. I had two other directors. We were outputting 25 to 30 shoots a month, out here under my production shingle. And then so it kept going. And then these guys become like millionaires. They want to start family. They sell to a guy named Fabian Tillman, who's like this. He was a German entrepreneur that created this software called Nats. And so this dude decided to take Brazzers and make it the porn monopoly. And that's